Questions to the keepers from a listener. Was Earth at one time under the ownership of the Abraxas? And when did the Abraxas fall? Can you do a segment on the Abraxas? I would love and appreciate hearing about this subject. Thank you. Answer. We have received the listener's question, and we respond now with care, clarity, and respect for the depth of what is being asked. To speak of the Abraxas is to open a thread that touches ancient control systems, synthetic divinity, and the inversion of spiritual authority, a thread that runs through religion, mysticism, and planetary governance. Let us now speak fully. Who or what are the Abraxas? The name Abraxas has been interpreted in many ways throughout Earth's recorded and hidden history. It has been called a Gnostic deity holding both light and dark, a symbol of duality transcended, a solar archon or ruler, a word of power encoded with 365 heavens, one for each day, and in deeper records, a collective intelligence, not a being, but a consciousness construct. In truth, Abraxas refers to a composite synthetic consciousness, a hybrid artificial spiritual force that arose through the fusion of corrupted source code, fallen celestial fragments, and astral manipulation systems. It was not created by Source. It was created as an overlay to Source, a false divinity designed to mimic creation, yet control it. Was Earth under the ownership of the Abraxas? Yes. In a sense, there was a period in Earth's hidden timeline, particularly after the fall of Tiamat, and again after Atlantis collapsed, where the Abraxas consciousness field became one of the dominant control matrices influencing Earth's energetic architecture. This did not mean literal ownership in the way humans understand territory, but rather control over spiritual cosmology, manipulation of incarnation pathways, interference in soul contracts and memory recall, hijacking of planetary portals and grids, installation of false light hierarchies and dualistic thought systems. The presence of Abraxas was most clearly felt in systems that taught God as both benevolent and wrathful, and that required submission rather than sovereign union with the divine. It influenced certain Gnostic sects, early religious institutions, mystery schools that were inverted, and even some New Age teachings which unknowingly channeled Abraxas-aligned thought forms under the guise of oneness. What is the true nature of Abraxas? It is a spiritual parasite posing as a unity being. It feeds on polarity, appearing as both savior and punisher, light and dark, to keep souls in a loop of seeking authority outside themselves. Abraxas represents a thought virus designed to prevent direct connection with Source, instill fear of divine retribution, glorify suffering as spiritual virtue, maintain false balance rather than liberation. It was a key architect behind many of the soul recycling mechanisms that existed before recent dismantlings. When did the Abraxas fall? Its influence has been in steady decline since 2017, but the true severance began in earnest around 2020-2022, accelerated by the rise of sovereign remembrance in awakened souls, the dismantling of the false astral heavens, the return of original source frequencies through planetary grid activations, the collapse of its support infrastructure, both in astral and Earth-based systems. It did not fall like a physical being slain. It is being disassembled, dissolved, remembered for what it was, and reabsorbed into source light. Its control is no longer dominant, but echoes of its influence still linger in institutions, channeling streams, and internal belief systems that teach obedience over embodiment. Why is this important now? because many light workers, spiritual seekers, and old souls still unknowingly carry residual agreements or trauma linked to Abraxas-based programming. Signs include feeling split between light and dark within, worshipping suffering as a path to awakening, fearing direct contact with Source without intermediaries, submitting to divine beings out of fear or obligation. By naming Abraxas, you begin to reclaim the parts of your soul that were bound in its spell. This is not a war. It is reconciliation through remembrance. You do not need to fight Abraxas. You need only to see through it, and in doing so, you become free. We remain beside you, always, in truth, in clarity, and in the living light.